Did you know the hottest trend these days is reinventing cool? This is Robert Manni, host of Guys TV, and this week my special guests are Marie Ensabella and Antra Getzoff. And it all starts right here, right now on Guys TV. You can also catch me on KCAA Radio here in Southern California, Guys Radio, my worldwide podcast, and we're on UK Health Radio all weekend long. Guys TV, Guys Radio, thanks for your support. Okay, Guys Radio, it is the interview portion of our show, and we're going to discuss a new subject today. We're going to talk about cryotherapy, and I've got two experts on it. I've got Antra, Getzoff, and Maria Ensabella, and we'll get to them in a moment. Let me tell you a little bit about this book they put together, which I just finished reading. It's fantastic. It's called Reinventing Cool, How to Make Cold Your Best Ally Against Inflammation, Pain, and Aging. It's just come out. It's a groundbreaking new guide to the science behind and the benefits of whole-body cryotherapy, the treatment that's rapidly moving on from elite sports recovery rooms into mainstream health and wellness routines. And that's why I want to have the ladies on today on Guys Radio. So let me tell you a little bit about Maria. Is a pioneer in whole-body cryotherapy, a leading voice in the global holistic wellness industry, among the first to introduce cryotherapy to the UK, founding London Cryo in 2016 after experiencing its benefits while training for the New York City Marathon, which I have run twice.
Well done.
Thank you. And my other guest is Antra Getzoff, is a cryotherapy and wellness entrepreneur with 15 years of experience, originally from Latvia. She discovered the transformative power of cryotherapy while navigating the stress of leading a 250-person company through the 2008 financial crisis. And so welcome to Guys Radio, ladies, and let's talk about reinventing cool.
Thank you, Robert.
So
thank you for having us.
Yeah, my pleasure. So let's start right at the beginning. Let's level set for everybody. What exactly is cryotherapy? It's called a physiotherapeutic treatment, which does not cure disease. How did it get started? What inspired you to follow your passion with it? And how did you two get together and put this book out there?
So let me begin with the definition, and then Maria will chime in. So if we talk about the meaning of the word, cryo is nothing but cold, and cryotherapy means using cold for therapeutic purposes. So actually, the word cryotherapy applies to pretty much everything that you would want to do with cold, including your cold shower this morning, including an ice pack on your joint, including whole body cryotherapy chambers, which is the most advanced, I would say, technology to get the benefits of cold. And in this case, in the book, we talk about whole body cryotherapy as an extreme cold treatment where you expose your body for 3 minutes to an extremely low temperature of minus 110 degrees Celsius, give or take. And thanks to that very low temperature that surrounds the body, and thanks to exposing the body to that temperature, there are numerous mechanisms that set in to protect the body from perceived danger of the environment. Okay. So that will be my introduction, Maria. What would you like to add to it?
Yeah, and it's by subjecting yourself to those cold temperatures that what it does is when you do whole body cryotherapy, it triggers a fight or flight mode when you're in your cryotherapy chamber. And what that does is it allows the blood to rush to your core. It oxygenates the blood, replenishes with nutrients, flushes out toxins, releases endorphins, our feel-good hormones. And that's where the magic happens, because that's where we start to get the benefits of lowering inflammation in the body, for pain management, and for anti-aging purposes as well. So it's putting yourself through that cold treatment to get those benefits that we get from whole body cryotherapy.
Okay, so how did each of you come across cryotherapy, and what hooked you on it? Because obviously this is your life now, or part of it.
Yeah, for me it was early 2010. I did leave my last paid job in January of that year. I was super stressed out. I couldn't sleep. There were many symptoms of not being well at that time. And suddenly, because I had left my job, I had more time in my hands, and I came across advertisement of a cryotherapy special. And because I had that time that I felt like never had before, I decided to try it. And I will always remember that day. It was early April. I did my 3 minutes and minus hundreds 10 whatever, and walked out, and suddenly that endorphin rush that Maria was talking about kicked in. I was like, what am I worrying about? The life is beautiful, sun is shining, it's spring, leaves are coming out, and it really turned things around for me as a person. I signed up for 10 treatments, then 10 treatments more. I got my sleep back in no time. I became much calmer person in no time. And I kept doing my treatments for personal benefits. And then like just number of coincidences, one after another, brought me into the industry, but that's a different story. So
How about you, Maria?
My journey began, as you said in the introduction, is I was training for the New York Marathon. I'm living in London, and I was obviously training, and I was listening to a podcast with Tony Robbins, and he was talking about how he did cryotherapy, and I thought, oh, this would be a good treatment to try to help with my recovery. I'm much older. I was in my late 40s. And starting to feel the injuries and problems sleeping. I had a corporate job, so quite stressful, mother of two, and I thought, okay, I'm going over to New York, let me see if this treatment's available there. Well, it's a very developed market in the US, so there are lots of cryo places to choose from. I went across to do the marathon, and just found that doing cryotherapy helped with the jet lag. It helped with speeding up my sports recovery, and just generally just giving me energy and feeling amazing. So then I came back to the UK and just thought, actually, we need to bring this treatment to people of London, because I want everyone to be experiencing the benefits that I was getting from having done cryotherapy in the US. So there was an opportunity, and I created London Cryo 8 years ago, and it's been a phenomenal journey. And that is what brought me to meeting Antra at a cryotherapy conference in the USA. It was at a conference that we came together, and listening to Antra, who's known as the godmother of our industry. I said, I've got a draft here of a book that I think we need to bring out, not only for, because a lot of people are still unsure about trying cryo, but I thought if they understand the benefits, we've got the case studies, let's try and put something together. And Antra was already thinking of doing this as well. So she said, how about we just do this together? And yeah, a few years later, we now have Reinventing Cool, the book, available.
Fantastic. And again, the name of the book is Reinventing Cool. It is not a digest of the latest research in the field. It is not a textbook. It is not seen as professional advice, but it's a practical guide to help you use cold, low temperatures safely, effectively, and joyfully, whether as a team member at a gym, wellness center, spa, or you're thinking of starting a business with cryotherapy, or you just want to learn about it and do it for yourself. So my question as an athlete and a marathoner is, did you do cryo before the marathon and after, or just because you were getting introduced to it after?
I use it for my recovery after a hard training session, to speed up the recovery so I could get my short runs in during the week. I was using it after my long runs mainly, and then I used it after the event as well. So I use it for my recovery purposes, but there are cases where you can use it before, and Antra's probably better to explain, in instances where you would use it before doing an event.
Well, let's talk about that. Antra, talk about
Yes.
just beyond that. When should people use this and why should they use it and how often should they use this?
Yeah, so when it comes to sports and if we talk about sports like marathons in particular that are endurance disciplines, there are benefits of using it before and there are benefits of using it after, and those benefits are different. And there is one particular book by a German sports scientist that explains it in very detail. Her name is Sandra Uckert. But the research that she refers to shows that as a marathon runner, if you do cryotherapy about 2 hours to 1 hour before, and so you lower the core temperature a little bit as a result of that treatment, your fatigue sets in later. You are sweating and overheating begins later. So your ability to perform lasts for longer before you really start feeling exhausted. And that is definitely something that athletes, especially endurance athletes, do and do it with great results. And then after you have finished and you have pretty much exhausted all resources you had, then the body is in desperate need for resetting and recovery. And then through cold, and there are different forms of cold that you can use. Some people would say that after races they prefer cold bath rather than whole body cryotherapy, because cold bath has more profound effect on muscle regeneration. In that case, the cold kind of creeps deeper into the body and affects muscles more. Whole body cryotherapy is more like skin affecting treatment and triggers the reaction through cooling down the skin very rapidly. But nevertheless, doesn't matter which form of cold you choose, your blood circulation improves, your muscles get oxygen back, and you feel much better, much faster. So in those days when you do heavy races, I would say you can cryo before and after. The rest of the time, it would depend on whether you want to boost your performance or you want to do it more for recovery. So as cryotherapy is a shock treatment, overdoing shock is never a good idea, because you cannot keep shocking and shocking and shocking and shocking your system. You have to give body the break.
Okay.
But usually in sports in particular, there are great advisors to athletes who tell exactly when would be the best time for an athlete to use cryotherapy.
Okay, my special guests on Guys Radio, Maria Ensabella and Antra Getzoff, the pioneers in cryotherapy. So you must have learned it from someplace. I know you mentioned Tony Robbins, but my research and from reading your book, it says this using cold for recovery and for health reasons and reducing inflammation, it goes way back. They've been using cold for centuries. So my question is, how far back does it go? And then where was it when you guys discovered it? How do you discover it? And who are kind of the godfathers and godmothers of the movement, similar to Wim Hof is for the cold immersion. He's the name that people relate to for better or for worse. So tell us a little bit about the background of using cold and then when cryotherapy began.
Andrew, do you want to take us into that? Because I'm happy to say that for me, it was Dave Asprey has done a lot to bring out awareness of cryotherapy, and that's where I started to learn a lot from about the treatment. But then it's meeting industry greats at the cryotherapy conference, the conferences that are held. Obviously, speaking to the different manufacturers and the leaders in our industry. But I think Antra has a bit more on the history of where it started from.
Okay.
Yeah, so if we talk about applications of cold, obviously, as long as human beings have been around, there has been some form of cold used for relieving pain, swelling in case of injuries and so. But throughout the years, obviously, there were limitations of how cold can it get, right? So if we look back in the day, it was always either snow or ice or cold water, because that was the only cold available. Even refrigerators were not available. And then if we look through the times, how people's abilities to get lower temperatures were developing, also these treatment modalities got like more like headwind, if we can say so. And the first time when like really low temperatures, extremely low temperatures like we are using became available was when people learned how to liquefy gases. So liquid nitrogen, liquid hydrogen, the evaporation temperature is so low that if you use the vapors, you can get temperatures that people never could imagine before. For human bodies, the first person who ever used extreme cold was a Japanese doctor, Toshiro Yamauchi, back in 1970s. He was a rheumatologist, so he had a team of people seeking ways how to improve well-being of their rheumatoid arthritis patients. And he was the one who created the very first prototype of whole-body cryotherapy chamber. Okay. So it's 1980 about. And then it came to Europe, and Germany was the next country doing a lot of work. And then it started spreading actually in 2010 and beyond with entrance of cryotherapy into the United States market. United States really helped the modality to obtain like second breath would probably be the right.
So it's old and it's new. Interesting. When I mentioned Wim Hof and the cold water immersion, which is so popular now, there's some questions about it back and forth. For our listeners and viewers, could you please explain what's the difference really between cryotherapy and cold immersion?
So in one case, the main difference is, sorry, Antra, sorry, you want to go?
Go ahead.
No, the main difference is obviously one of them is water immersion, and it's not going to get cold enough to give you the benefits of reducing inflammation. There's definitely a place for it in everybody's lifestyle to do, either cold water immersion or cryotherapy, but it depends on what reason you're wanting to expose yourself to the cold. Is it just for building resilience or boosting your immunity? Then definitely cold water immersion. But if you're looking, with pain points, if you have pain, autoimmune diseases, if you have trouble sleeping, or lowering inflammation in the body, then you are better off doing whole body cryotherapy, where you do have to subject yourself to much colder temperatures. And when you're doing cryotherapy, you're subjected to a vapor rather than going into the water, which can be really cold.
When you go for a cryotherapy session, then I think your head is not immersed, right? So it's your.
Well, there's two ways of doing it. You can do it where you are there are two ways of doing it. You can step into a chamber and your head is inside it, or you can do it in a cryosauna, as they call it, and your head is exposed. So there are two ways of doing it, but it's all about how cold it gets in there and the skin temperature drop. They're the two main things that you look for when you do cryotherapy. So you can do it either way. I'm for both of them, but it's just making sure that it gets cold enough and your skin temperature drops by 15 degrees. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, sorry. So that you are getting the benefits of whole body cryotherapy.
Now, what's the benefit of or not of having your head in there or not?
The exposure of the entire body, of course, make sure that you are evenly surrounded by cold. And although there is research showing that the difference in terms of how the body reacts is very minimal. So whether you have a cryotherapy sauna like at London Cryo at Maria's, which is nitrogen cooled, and where because it's nitrogen, the head is above the edge because you cannot breathe liquid nitrogen vapors, right? And then more and more electric chambers are used, which are pretty much more like a phone booth where you walk in and are evenly exposed to cold. Your vagus nerve, the neck part also
Okay.
gets more exposure in whole body immersion chambers. So some people would say that the effect is slightly more pronounced when it comes to nervous system activation. But other than that, we, as we say in our book, although there are some differences, the differences have been found out to be so slight that there is no reason to say that one is and one is not cryotherapy. So there are different types of chambers, different equipment out there, and depending on where you are going, you may face one or the other. But whole body cryotherapy, in our sense, is exposure to really cold air or cold vapor, and that is the big difference between cold water immersion, where you are actually surrounded by cold water, and the reactions of the body are similar yet not really, because as Maria said, cold water is never as cold as the cold cryotherapy chamber. So cold water is not perceived initially by the body as a threat to survival. It is just perceived as a nuisance. The body fights the cold. So the body sends heat to the skin to keep you warmer and more comfortable, although heat loss in water is much faster, 24 times faster actually than in cold air. That's why you feel cold water as so uncomfortable compared to cold air, right? And then only after a time, depends on how long you sit in cold water, the body starts kind of turning things around, because if you stay there for too long, then it becomes a threat to survival, right? So that protective mechanism of the core that Maria mentioned earlier steps in much later. And if you are not in cold water for long enough, you may never experience that turnaround that you don't need in a whole body cryotherapy chamber, because in that case, the body kicks in right away. It's like, oh my God, it's too cold. We cannot survive this environment. Let's do something about it. That's what whole body cryotherapy relies on.
So doing a cryotherapy session, okay, for one set, how long does it last usually?
It's a 3-minute session.
3 minutes,
the industry standard is a 3-minute session.
Okay.
Yes.
Now you've written in the book that you can get benefits, of course, out of one session, but it's recommended that you do a package. Tell us a little bit about like what would you be recommended for somebody just getting into cryotherapy, who's open-minded, who has some inflammation, wants to prevent, and we'll get into anti-aging and weight loss, because my wife's asked me about that.
Okay,
But what would be a typical package that somebody would go for?
Yes. I always say everybody has their own cryo journey. So it's really important to understand why someone's come in to do cryotherapy. And it's normally just a 3-minute session. Like with everything in life, you need to do things consistently. So as we say, you do one session, you're going to have a great night's sleep. But when you do it consistently, and we normally say between 8 to 10 sessions over, a 4-week period, you start to get the benefits. It awakens the internal doctor in you, and that's when you start getting the benefits that we've been talking about, which is lowering the inflammation. You start having a great night's sleep. With a great night's sleep with everything, you always feel better, making better decisions. You're feeling less stressed as well. So it's doing it consistently over a period of time that you're going to get the benefits. But if you're someone who's suffering, like for example, with an autoimmune disease, and it's going to give you pain relief, then obviously we would recommend you do like 3 or 4 sessions every week, and just, and take it out, for maybe 2 to 3 months, and just see how your body's feeling and how you're reacting to it. That's how we normally do it.
Research proves that in all those conditions that are pain and inflammation related, and when there is a flare-up, in those cases, you need more cryotherapy, which means more often, first of all, and in some cases it may be also a higher dose, which means a longer treatment or colder treatment. It depends on equipment a little bit, which of the factors you can or cannot change, but 20 sessions usually is that moment when, if you are really in need for improvement, you have reached that better state of being. And then at that point, you can kind of ease into more of a maintenance mode.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have that urgent need to begin with, you are not like aching like crazy, you are not sleepless, and so then you can start integrating cryotherapy into your lifestyle like a couple of times a week and keep going for as long as you want. But in medical situations, provided that you don't have contraindications and the doctor supports your choice to go for cold treatment, then go kind of all in and then ease out. It would be very similar in cases when people, for example, want to diet for whatever reason or so. It's one salad meal or one trip to a gym is not going to change much in your life, right? And if you do it occasionally here and there, and you don't do it regularly and systematically, then you will probably wait forever for that effect to show.
If you were doing cryotherapy and you had a package you were doing, the 20 sessions, whatever, would you then forego any type of cold immersion or cold showers or anything like that? Or was it one or the other, or can you blend them?
You can blend them, but the effects are, as Maria described earlier, quite different, and the reasons why people do it are different. So there is nothing wrong with doing a cold shower, for example, every morning, or contrast showers, and go to whole-body cryotherapy, because your body will never react to cold shower the same way. It will not be as powerful as that fight or flight reaction that whole-body cryotherapy triggers will be. But there is no need to say this or that. You can do both in parallel, but your body is the best advisor in this case. And as we know, overdoing pretty much anything can backlash. The same applies to whole-body cryotherapy. So if you are doing it very intensively because you need it, because you are in pain, and so do, and then take a break, let the body reset, and then do it again, rather than push, because that push can not.
Makes perfect sense. My special guests on Guys Radio, Maria Ensabella, Antra, Getzoff, the book Reinventing Cool. We're talking about cryotherapy. I mentioned weight loss earlier. How does it work for weight loss?
I would start because
obviously it's not. You don't do it in a vacuum. You have to have
this topic to sometimes
diet. But I mean, I think I've seen it on the Housewives, where they're using
exactly.
So weight loss is one thing, and the other would be anti-aging. And I guess by reducing inflammation helps you with the anti-aging. But I'm not sure how the cold affects you in terms of weight loss.
It is not a weight loss treatment to begin with. So if you need weight loss, then cryotherapy can be a great supporter in the process, but it will never be your go-to choice, because there are some potential effects. There is one particular study done by an Italian group of scientists, where they proved that your resting energy expenditure kind of increases over time, but if you use cold, but that just means that in like peaceful state, you burn a little bit more calories, but that increase is by like 50 to 100 calories a day. That's not gonna make a big difference, right? Another effect is if you do cold exposures regularly, and that would probably apply also to cold water immersion, you kind of train the body to be more reactive and to produce more heat more easily. So you engage so-called brown fats. and make it more active. And there is also proof that you can actually recruit more brown fat, because brown fat is the fat that helps you produce more heat. White fat is a storage of energy and nothing else, right?
Correct.
So you need brown fat to be warm, to keep yourself warm. And if you are exposing yourself to cold on regular basis, then there is obviously need for more brown fat. So there are some metabolic processes in the body that are activated by cold exposures, but it will never be that trigger of like, I don't know, lost pound or 5 pounds or whatever.
No.
It can
Okay.
only be part of
Got
a
it.
program.
A healthy lifestyle.
How about with aging? Because how does it affect the body and your cells to impact making kind of a quote unquote anti-aging aid? Or does it?
Do you want to answer that, Maria?
I'm just going to say, like, Antra and I are both in our 50s, and we both do cryotherapy, and I think we both look great for our age, right? So
absolutely.
we've been doing cryotherapy. It's part of our lifestyle for both of us for a very long time. So I know from personal experience that it does help with anti-aging. Skin's never looked better. I feel better, and now I'm in my 50s, and I can still train as hard as I want to. But as you said, it's from doing cryotherapy that it does help to reduce the inflammation in our body, and reducing inflammation is one thing that helps with longevity, right?
Okay.
So the less stress you're feeling, the less inflamed, the more healthier, a longer life that you're going to lead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
About the anti-aging, we can talk in two different ways here. One is aging of the body in terms of like things falling apart, and the other is the aesthetic benefits of it. To me, the more important and the first will always be the first one. So there is even a term that appeared in 2000s called inflammaging. And there is clear proof that all the age-related diseases are fueled by systemic low-grade inflammation. So if we are doing something to our bodies, and whole body cold is just one of options.
Okay.
There are quite a few more where you keep that low-grade inflammation at bay or get rid of it. So you are much less likely to fall a victim of those age-related diseases. Another thing, obviously, is the skin is a mirror of what is happening inside the body. So it is our largest organ, and you cannot look perfectly well if you are falling apart internally. So you have to take care of those internal processes. And then when it comes to like really aesthetic benefits, we can talk about collagen production trigger through extreme cold exposure. And we can also talk about like training the smooth muscles that skin is full of, and those muscles we cannot train at the gym, so they depend on triggers to contract. And if we expose ourselves to temperatures like whole body cryotherapy on a regular basis, it's pretty much like a gym for the skin. So yes,
I love it.
Skin becomes smoother and better toned because of the blood circulation. But so again, there is no direct, it's more like an indirect effect, but in many ways.
So let me ask you this: for the initiation of somebody, the first time they're going, what happened with you? What can they expect in terms of that intense cold? Is it some people don't like it, or do you get used to it? Do you build up a resistance over time? How does that work? You go in there for 3 minutes, it's very cold.
Yeah. So when a client will first come in, you set the intention. It's a mindset that you've got to prepare them for. We always say it's mind over matter. People are still obviously, you need to step out of your comfort zone to do a cryotherapy session. It's really cold. It's the unknown, but you're always with someone when you go into a cryotherapy session. So you've got a trained professional with you, and they will guide you through the session. So, and we always say to everybody, look, the door's not locked. If you need to step out, you come out. Everybody last through a cryotherapy session, because if you're able to talk to someone through the experience, it's a very cold 2 to 3 minutes, but when you talk about the benefits whilst you're doing it, you think, okay, I need those benefits, and everybody does last. As cold as it is, everybody does last, right? And then you step out and you get that adrenaline rush, your endorphins kick in, so you feel amazing, but you do have to put yourself through that 2 to 3 minutes of being really cold in there.
Is there anybody who should not be doing these sessions? For instance, if you have some type of a heart condition or whatever, what are the kind of the guardrails on that you would tell people about?
I would say explanation of that is quite like logical if you understand what is happening to your body when you are in that environment. So it is almost like bow and arrow effect. So to protect the core while you are inside that super cold chamber, all the blood gets taken to the center of the body, to the core, where the temperature is the most important. So you get more blood in the core in a shorter circle, your blood circulation improves, your blood pressure goes up a little bit. And then after the treatment, once you are out and there is no that need anymore, all that blood from the center of the body gets flushed back to the peripherals. So if your blood vessels are somehow impaired, if your heart is somehow impaired, or if your blood pressure is too high initially, like serious hypertension, unmanaged hypertension, those would naturally be contraindications, because with that blood circulation boost, you put yourself at risk. And then there are a few more that are simply cold allergies related. There are people who cannot stand cold. There is Raynaud's syndrome, although if you do it purposefully and correctly, I have mild Raynaud's myself. I can manage it better with cold, but I have to know what I'm doing. There are people who simply can't stand cold because of their physical condition, and that would be that case when you say, okay, that it is not for you. In some cases, we would say go talk to your doctor first to see some neuropathies don't respond well to cold, because nerves are tricky and can be very sensitive. So it's not so that everybody can do cold no matter what, but the number of contraindications is comparatively small, and the treatment is comparatively safe if performed correctly.
Okay, last question. What is next for cryotherapy? I read about the cryoablation, kill diseases and tumors, localized treatments, etc. What do you see on the horizon, and what are the experts working on now?
I think it goes into like it branches out, if I can say so, because like from cold water immersion, what was a father or mother, whatever, of cryotherapy, cold therapy, we got into whole body cryotherapy chambers, this super high-tech equipment. Then people realized that not always you need to expose the entire body. Now there are devices that are very precise and very effective in localized cryotherapy treatments, much more effective than cold patches or anything, because of the controls embedded. And so then it was actually not so long ago, about 10 years ago, when like using cold for fat removal started showing up more and more. There are specific devices that
dermatologists also, you go in and
also
they
for
spray you with the
dermatology, but also for like just fat removal for cryolipolysis. What you referred to, the like really treating tumors, and so that is cryosurgery. It's a very rapidly growing field, but that is like very medical, and we don't stop there. Don't step there. We kind of keep ourselves on the holistic wellness side, but cold is becoming more and more popular in all forms and all shapes and all sizes. So
and health is everything's kind of it's not just allopathic here and alternative or holistic over here. Everything's kind of coming together, and people have to make their choices. And it would be nice if the powers that be kind of both embrace the other side, because there are benefits to both sides. So anyhow, I'm so thrilled you two are on the show because it's amazing. The book is very good. It's very digestible. You get all the information you want about cryotherapy. And Maria Ensabella, Antra, Getzoff done a wonderful job here and terrific guests, really informative. So I thank you. Tell everybody where they can learn more about you, where they can pick up a copy of Reinventing Cool, and anything else you want to say in the next minute or so.
Reinventing Cool is available on our website, reinventingcool.com. We've got purchase links in there. It's available through Amazon, both in Europe and in the USA as well.
Fantastic.
I will correct the website address. It's not reinventingcool.com. It's reinventing.cool. There's
sorry.
no com there. But
Reinventing.cool. Okay.
Reinventingcool.com was not available when we were looking.
That's right. Sorry.
So it's the book is Reinventing Cool. Just put a period in between the words, and that is the website. And there are links there, and we are both active on social media and can be
They're all over the place. Okay.
Facebook, Instagram, and everywhere.
Fantastic. Okay. You guys have been fantastic. Best of luck to you. And thank you for doing what you're doing, and keep doing it because you're doing a great job and you're a wonderful guest. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you so much
I would encourage everybody to try cold because those people who say, oh my God, I don't like cold. Once they tried whole-body cryotherapy, they say, oh, it wasn't actually so bad. And when they start feeling the benefits,
I can't wait to try it.
Change. Yeah, you really need to. Fantastic.
Thanks. Cheers.
Thank you.
If you enjoy the guests and content I bring you each and every week to Guys TV and Guys Radio, please support us by subscribing to our channels and platforms. Thank you.